Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Famula One. I'm your host, Jamie. I'm here with my sister, Jack.
Hi, everybody.
And it's upon us. We did it, everybody.
We did it.
Motorsport. There are cars on track today. There were cars on
Cars
track.
are on track. It is also, 9 days until the first race or something like that? We are in single digits.
Single digits.
It's happening.
I
We did
just,
it.
everybody, we made it. It's like that TikTok sound. It's like, war is over.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
And Drive to Survive season 6, which we talked a ton about last episode, comes
Yeah.
out on Friday, the 23rd of February. So it's not
They
out yet.
dropped, like,
Recording.
they dropped out the full trailer. Ryan
Yeah.
Reynolds makes an appearance.
Yeah.
Um,
Can't wait to see him.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Do you have any other additional predictions for that season? Because this is our last episode we're recording before it comes out based on the full trailer. Because we did all of our predictions based on the teaser.
I know, we did all of ours based, which the teaser trailer gave, I feel like, way more than the real trailer did. Yeah, they'll definitely be focusing on Pierre and Esteban. It was not a what is it called, like a red herring. It wasn't that.
Yeah. No, they have a whole
They
quote
definitely are
from
gonna be
Pierre
focusing on that.
saying like, "We're never gonna be friends." It's like,
Yeah.
oh, drama.
Drama. Yeah, so they'll definitely be focusing on that. And I do think what you had asked for, of you wanted behind the scenes of how Danny got his seat, they
Yeah.
will be showing
I'm really
that.
excited. I'm excited to see that. And we've talked about this like ad nauseum. I hope they treat Nick DeVries with
Mhm.
respect. But I am really excited to see like those conversations and like the Christian, like his phone call to Daniel where
Yeah.
he's like, I want to put something to you. And then it seems like that there was a cut from like at that Silverstone tire test where Christian turns to the people he's sitting with and he's like, that lap time would have put him next to Max on the grid. So I'm excited that hopefully there's a focus there on that.
Yeah.
The other thing that I'm curious to see what you think about this, because I am like almost positive that they added this in after the fact, is the whole clip of Lewis saying to Toto, like, you could be here another 20 years. I can't.
Yeah.
That has to have been added after the
If
Lewis to
they
Ferrari.
didn't go back and edit things after all the Ferrari stuff came out, I would be very shocked if they didn't, because it's such a huge storyline. Because Lewis has been there for so long. He's such a massive part of Mercedes. If they didn't go back and take advantage of that drama and trying to, like, there were signs, right? Like, we were calculating that last week of, like, there are signs, like the Monster contract going up, and them going to McLaren, like, there were signs that Lewis wasn't staying. If they didn't do stuff with that, I would be very, very shocked.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And like, I think they'll also do that probably for Gunther, right? Like, they'll the same thing where they'd wrapped filming for the season had ended, but this Gunther news came out. Gunther's a huge contributor for Drive to Survive. Like, he's probably the breakout star of the whole series. So I think the going back in the little clips of Gunther where he's saying like, I'm over this, or like, this is frustrating, probably honestly in context have nothing to do with his position.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he's been frustrated. He's been over it. Being a team principal of Haas that has really made no progress over the years has to be frustrating.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see how all of that goes. But in other news, we had cars on track today.
Yeah, we had cars on track.
So today was day 1 of testing. So there's 3 days of testing: today, tomorrow, and then Friday, same day that Drive to Survive comes out. And lots to discuss. Again, with the caveat, this is testing. We can't really, deduce too much. We can't, we're not going to use this as like this is how the season is going to go. But a little bit. We're going to make
But
some
we are gonna base a lot of our predictions off of it. Or at least
um,
I did.
oh, I was like, "Oh, me screaming from the rooftops that testing numbers mean nothing," and then, like, looking at the timesheets, like,
I know,
everybody
and then I'm like, Lando's too, and I'm like, they mean everything. They
this
are
this is the championship order.
Yes,
Um,
100%.
so
Actually,
we
I
did
think that's what you might see. We'll see.
we did not have Sergio Perez or Lewis Hamilton testing today. So, as some teams, they'll kind of all organize it differently because it's a full day of testing. So, sometimes they'll have like one driver do one day, one driver does another. Some of them split. So, no like big craziness because of that. It's just how those teams chose to make their schedules. But shockingly, Max Verstappen is first.
Shocking.
With a gap of 1.14 to Lando and P2.
Was it that big? Did I miscalculate this on my own? I wouldn't be shocked.
I took this screenshot from the F1 website.
Okay, so yeah, you're right.
So,
You're right. Yeah.
so again, testing numbers mean nothing. However, Max was for a full second faster than everybody else.
Yeah.
But
It's not as bad.
P2, your boy, Lando Norris.
Lando. Love Lando. Uh I'm pumped. I think that especially how we ended last year and how well he was doing. I just hope he can get out of his own head and win a race this
Right.
year.
And I think this speaks to we talked about like we wouldn't expect McLaren to start as far back or even close to as far back as they did last season because it
Yeah.
seemed like they were on the right track. This is kind of, somewhat
Good
speaking
luck.
to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having 2 drivers in the top 10, good luck.
Yeah. And speaking to a good look, P3, my boy, Mr. Carlos Sainz.
Carlos
Um,
Sainz.
but he was 1.2. That was the gap to Lando.
Mhm.
So, and again, if you look at like the laps that they've all done, this can, who knows? But following Carlos was Danny Rick.
Yeah.
Danny
Dude, that
Rick
was
in
awesome.
the V carb.
The V carb.
I
We
would
love the
love
V
to
carb.
see, I mean, I would love to see V carb competitive. I don't think there's anybody that wouldn't. Like Yuki and
Yeah.
Daniel up in the fight would be incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everyone kind of views it as like this kind of like junior team, right? Like the stepping stone. Don't do that. Have
Well,
like a
yeah,
really good competitive team.
exactly.
And I
And
think they're
and
starting to do that.
and we as we will always say, we take everything that Helmut Marko says with a grain of salt.
Oh God.
But he did say last year that, the goal was, the team at the time was called AlphaTauri, was to move AlphaTauri closer to Red Bull's development, and to make that team more competitive. So exciting. We'll see.
We'll
Um,
see.
Another one I do want to call out, and we can, give a quick top 10, but one that we actually mentioned before we started recording, George Russell with the second most laps of the day. Max did 142, George did 122, and he was 12th fastest.
Yeah. That made me really sad.
And again, this was the only Mercedes on track. No
Yeah,
Lewis
Lewis
today.
wasn't on track today. Uh,
So we'll see
if
how
this is the car, I
we'll see
understand
how
why
Lewis does
Lewis went to
tomorrow.
Ferrari.
And you never know, right? With testing, they could
Yeah.
be testing different fuel loads or, tires or any number of different settings.
Yeah.
But 12?
Second most laps? Should be a little bit better than that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this is where again we get into the grain of salt thing, but still,
I know, it makes me nervous.
yeah.
It makes me
But
nervous.
rounding out the top 10. So we have Max, Lando, Carlos, Daniel. Behind Daniel in fifth, we have Pierre Gasly.
Also kind of shocking.
Yeah, Alpine. Look at you go.
Alpine.
Lance Stroll follows him, and then Charles Leclerc in seventh, followed by Fernando Alonso, then Oscar Piastri, and then in 10th, Zhou Guanyu.
Yeah.
So another
Love to
one.
see it.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
So, we will see, I think things will change over the days with, like, again, different setups being tested, different settings being tested.
Yeah.
So who knows? I think really what we can glean from this is, like, Red Bull's probably done it again.
I know, with only seeing one car so far.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't somebody say too, they were like, the RB20 is faster than the RB19?
Yeah. Yeah. Fadia, I don't know if you saw Formula Fadia on TikTok. She posted today and she had this whole setup of, like, I don't think that Red Bull's actually going to be as dominant as everyone's saying, and here's why. And then she sort of was just like, I don't really have a reason. I'm sort of just hoping. I was
Everyone's
like, yeah.
manifesting, praying, whatever you do, they're just trying to have other people win races this year, which I get. I don't know. I would like that.
I think, like, the hope is, we can all accept and understand we are in an era of Red Bull and max dominance. I would just like to see a fight at the front.
Yeah.
Like, something. I'm not sure we're getting that, but again, this is testing. Maybe every other team is sandbagging and every other team is so much faster. Who knows? We don't know.
Maybe Mercedes really is so fast, and they're
Yeah.
like, haha, you guys, we're testing something super random, so we look awful.
This is, and for context, if you're not familiar with sandbagging, it's this term where it's like, oh, the idea is, like, quote unquote, they put sandbags in their car to make it go slower. So yeah, maybe everyone's sandbagging.
Maybe.
I should keep well, I'm going to keep the delusional positivity again, everybody. We listed that as an in. So
It is an in, and that when you hear my predictions, just remember that.
yes, yeah, delusional positivity. I don't know how delusional I got pretty delusional.
I tried to have a balance.
Yeah, it's all about balance, right?
I've never done
Moderation.
season predictions before, and so this is
Oh,
terrifying to me.
Today's episode is season predictions, by the way.
We're so good at this.
We're pros. We're pros. But yes, so we'll keep you updated on testing within, like, next week's episode. We'll wrap up the next final 2 days of testing. Also, obviously, a drive to survive. All of that stuff we'll get into next week. But this week, with just 1 day of testing, we felt like this is the right time to put in our predictions so that we have some fun when we look back. Because as you know, if you listen to the episode where we revisited my predictions for the 2023 season, I'd done them after all of testing, and I feel like it wasn't as fun to look back. So
the one-off comments you made were the funniest things, like Otmar, you saying Otmar is staying, and that.
I think I'm
those
cursed,
sort of
by the
things.
way. I think I'm just
You
like
also genuinely called out. You're like, Nick DeVries, I'm so excited to see him on track.
like, I'm just wrong, just loud and wrong all the time.
Hey.
But basically, so we'll run through, we have tons of different categories for the predictions. Jack and I have each made a prediction. We have not seen each other's. And then, one, let us know how wrong you think we are, how right you think we are. Hopefully right. Hopefully you think we're right. And then, we'll keep an eye on these throughout the year, but the real fun will be at the end of the 2024 season. We'll take a look back at, the predictions we made, and also the comments that I inevitably make that are going to turn out to be so wrong.
We'll see.
So, Jack, do you want to kick it off? We'll start off, standard. Who's your prediction for World Drivers Champion?
This pick, I told Jamie this before we started filming, stressed me out to pick.
Yeah.
I went with Max. I don't think that's outlandish to say by any means, but
Yeah.
there is the delusional positivity that it is somebody else, but I don't think that it will be. I think it will be
Right.
Max.
Yeah. So we talked about this before we started recording. I also predict Max. But the delusional positive prediction I have, Charles Leclerc.
Oh my god.
But I simply cannot do that to myself again.
Okay.
So we're just gonna be realistic on this one. Max.
Max.
Yeah.
And constructors, who do you think is going to win the constructors this year?
I also went realistic. Red Bull.
I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured, first two categories and also these two that were won by so much last year. I was like,
Yeah.
we can be delusional, but like at a certain point, delusional becomes unhealthy, right?
Yeah. Some of our mental health does need to be saved.
Precisely.
I would love to see one or like the Red Bull win either the constructors or the driver, like
Yeah.
love a mix up, but I also don't think that that's actually going to happen.
Yeah. Would love an upset. Would love one. Makes
A
things
Cinderella
so
story, there is time for a Cinderella
there
story.
is, we got 24 races. Plenty of
We
time.
have 24 races. We have so many races.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But moving down the list, P2 and P3 in the Drivers' Championship. Who do you have?
I did Lando and Carlos.
Oh my gosh.
Which
What
I
are
look
today's
back on.
testing results?
I know. I didn't realize that until you were going through like the top 5 and I was like, "Oh no." But yeah, I do. Yep.
I'd
Not
love
maybe not in that specific order, but
Mhm.
I think that their top 3 is Max, Lando, Carlos.
I love that.
Yeah.
This is gonna make me seem like a non-Carlos fan because I didn't
It
include
is.
him in my P2 and P3, but my prediction, and I promise he's my favorite driver. My prediction for P2 in the constructors is Lando. And my prediction for P3 is Sergio Perez.
Yeah.
I don't see a world where Red Bull has as fast a car as we are assuming that they have, and he's not at least P3.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. That's a good point.
I predict, which we'll get into a little bit later, like I predict there might be some switch up at Red Bull, and I think that might affect Checo's consistency and confidence.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, and he also this past year did hang on to P2 in the championship, but there was at some point like a lot of discussion of like, will he be able to do that?
Yeah.
And I think this year, with other teams being maybe a little bit more developed and maybe a little bit closer to the front, I think that's where the fight will come in for P2.
Yeah. I definitely think that he'll be up there. If I had to do a top 5, he would definitely be in my driver top
Yeah.
5. I just know that well, maybe, break, he had time, but
Mhm.
at the end of the season, he was definitely shaken. And
Right.
so the whole reason he really hung on to P2, it felt like because of all of the good things and all the success and points he got
Mhm.
at the beginning of the season. So
Yeah.
I just don't know.
This is just one add on. Like, this is, unless it's, I don't think this applies to any of the categories. I do need him to win Mexico. Like, I need
Oh,
him to
yeah.
win in Mexico, especially
100%.
after last year. He has to win
100% can get behind that. Yeah, we there's one of my favorite TikToks of all time, and Jamie, you can cut this out if you want to. Is goes back and forth between it's Max Max's dad slamming like his headset or whatever, being super pissed that Max got P2. And then it cuts to Checo's dad
Oh,
cheering, and it's like he finished the first lap or
yeah. Oh,
something. Because he's
Papa
just so
Checo.
supportive. Papa
I love
Checo, I'm
Papa Checo.
obsessed with him.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
after, like, last year, if you don't recall or if you didn't watch the race,
Yeah.
Sergio Perez, hometown hero, like, so loved in Mexico, had contact with Charles Leclerc, turn 1, and DNF'd turn 1.
Yeah.
So we need him to win this year.
Yeah.
Um,
Agreed.
P2, yes, yeah. That was just an aside.
That's just an aside of who we need to win Mexico.
Yeah. P2 and P3 in the Constructors' Championship.
Okay. I said Ferrari and McLaren.
I said the exact same thing.
Did you?
Yeah.
Let's go.
And I do
Yeah,
think my prediction is Ferrari will be P2 and McLaren will be P3, which is
I
interesting
think
because
so
I'm
too.
predicting Lando will be P2 in the
I think
Constructors, but
yeah, but no, I can see it being Ferrari P2, McLaren P3. Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, I like that top 3 though. Sounds
I'm
pretty good.
I'm happy with that.
I love how we're just hyping up our own
Yeah.
team.
It's completely
Just picking
unbiased.
McLaren for everything. And then what did you have for surprise race winner?
I delusional positivity, Lando
Yeah.
Norris. He he has to
It's
get it
not
this
gonna be a
year.
surprise. It's not gonna be a surprise because he's going to win.
Valid.
Yep.
Yeah. All
But
right.
I picked Oscar.
Oh, but could you imagine the scenes if he wins a race before Lando does?
I can't deal with it. I Lando just needs to win one, and then I think he's gonna win a lot, you know?
Yeah. Well, I also think it's like, has he really had that many chances? It's just like this title
No.
that he unfortunately has to bear of,
Yeah.
I think what is it, most points or most podiums without a race win?
I think it's both. I think it might be both. I don't know if he's number 1 in both of those categories. I think he might be, like, 2nd in one of those, but yeah. Um,
And the thing is, like, really, how many realistic chances has he had? He had that one chance, Russia, what was that?
oh, yeah,
2019,
Sochi.
2020? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that obviously heartbreaking. But
Yeah, that was
since
bad.
then,
I mean, yeah, like, maybe one of those night races, like, what was it, Singapore, I think? N No, it wasn't
well, no, because
Singapore.
it was Singapore when Carlos won this past
Yeah, when
year.
Carlos won.
I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
but the
what am I
whole thing
thinking
with
of?
that was he had more like, Carlos was kind of intentionally keeping him in his
Yeah,
DRS,
Carlos
so
was doing his own
yeah.
strategy as per usual.
He was winning the race with the power of friendship, which was iconic.
Also, what a great Disney film, Power of Friendship.
Yeah, love it.
Um, yeah, I don't know which one I'm thinking of. There was one this year that there was I don't know. Maybe I'm being
Well, I
we'll move
mean,
on.
Silverstone
I
when he
digress.
led.
I don't know. We just need to move on because
Was
I'm never gonna think of it.
All right, moving on. Who do you think will have the best special livery?
Oh, McLaren.
Any specific or like just
I think they'll
the
do something for Silverstone because that's like technically their home race.
Mhm.
Um, that's when they
Full
did like
chrome?
Google your lips to God's ears, or I guess to Zach Brown's ears. They seem to be leaning less into the papaya,
Mhm.
especially with this year's livery, with
Yeah.
it being mostly carbon. But
Mm.
so maybe we could do a full chrome. Maybe he'll want to do it. But I also thought the suits were really nice that they paired with it. They kind of have to change up their livery a good amount just because like their main sponsor is nicotine, tobacco.
Yeah.
So depending on what country they're in, they have to change it up. So they've good opportunities and they've done well last year. Who
Yeah.
did you pick?
Sauber should give them a call because they're having some issues. So they're pretty familiar with changing up their liveries. Anyway, I'm just
Anywho,
I am hating so hard on
you
Sauber.
are
It's crazy.
hater mode with
Um,
Sauber.
My prediction is Ferrari at Monza because they always do something
Mm,
special. And I know last year's everyone was like, they look like McDonald's employees. I liked it.
yeah.
So
Do you think they'd ever do a full yellow, like, livery?
I feel like no, just because the whole thing is like the iconic red
Red.
car. It's
Yeah.
like you tell a child to draw a car, he'll draw it red
A
because
red car,
Ferrari.
yeah.
But I would like to see them do something a little bit more out there.
Yeah.
And I really like the race suits in the livery this year. And I almost feel like it looks to me like something in the past they might have done as a special livery. So that maybe gives me a little bit of hope for like maybe they'll go a little
Go
funky.
crazy. It'd be
Yeah.
crazy. Who speaking of specialty items, who do you think will have the best special helmet?
I think Lewis at Abu Dhabi will have the best one.
Oh, at Abu Dhabi? I didn't go at race, but, picked Lewis just because of his specialty helmet in Japan last year.
Yeah.
Dude, it was so sick. I was hoping that he was gonna make them into minis.
Yeah. Does he do minis?
I think of just his
Just his
one
standard
helmet,
one?
his standard one.
Yeah.
Lando also does really good
His
specialty.
100th race helmet
I
was
love that one.
with all the stickers. That was so cool.
And the Las Vegas one with all the snakes was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so he'll
Um,
have a couple good
I
ones.
I specified Lewis at Abu Dhabi just because it's going to be his last race with Mercedes, so I feel like
Mm,
he'll do something really special. Um,
yeah.
but we got a lot
We
of good helmet designers on the grid.
we do. Who do you think will have the worst one, though? Because I have an answer.
You do.
I do have an answer.
Oh, I haven't given that much thought. Do you want to share yours while I think?
Charles Leclerc.
Oh God. Is it
He
because of
always
the
does it.
time where he did the football field because he forgot
Yeah,
it was his
yeah,
100th
yeah,
race?
yeah. Even if it wasn't his 100th race, I
Yeah, his
still
100th
find
race was Ferrari.
that helmet horrifying. I hated it. It's like, you know
Yeah.
how we say he can't dress himself anymore? He also shouldn't be able to do his helmets anymore. It's becoming a problem.
He does have some interesting choices. Um, yeah, he and Lando has recently had really cool helmets, but he had that like phase where he would like just make a helmet look like a ball. Like he had a basketball and then he had a beach ball,
I
which
liked
I
the
was
beach
like,
ball.
live your life. Not
Live
my
your
cup
life.
of tea. Different
Not to
strokes,
yuck your
different
yum, but
strokes.
no,
Yeah, not gonna yuck your yum, but not my fave.
not my fave. Yeah, definitely Lewis.
Yeah, I think
I
Lewis
think,
will do so
yeah,
I think I would be shocked if he didn't do something big, like, to thank the team. Big as in, like, something on the helmet. I'm
yeah.
thinking my brain goes to do you remember Carlos's Goodbye McLaren helmet? Where it had,
Mm-mm.
like, a picture of, it had a picture of the whole team on the back of it, and it was like, "Thank you."
Mm. I was thinking
Some
of, like, Seb's last race helmet, which was, like, pictures of, like, fans.
Oh, yeah, Seb's last race helmet was so heartbreaking.
Can he just come back on the grid? I can't.
Oh god. Moving on to something happier. Uh,
Then
silly
into something
season,
else.
which has already begun, but
Oh,
beyond what we've
yeah.
already gotten. Silly season, surprise move or contract extension.
I have no, like, facts to back this up, but Yuki.
Yuki to where? To what?
I don't know. I just thought we were just picking a driver. I didn't know we had to pick where he could go. I just think that, like, it's been a question with them switching engine providers,
Mhm.
so I'd be interested to see where he would go. Um, yeah, I just think Yuki, and he's been at AlphaTauri,
Mhm.
whatever you wanna call him, V-carb, for a while. I would like to see him switch it up, try something different.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this is like the never ending story, right? Of they're trying always like testing Yuki,
You're
where it's
always
like,
testing Yuki.
I think he's proven himself by this point. I would love to see, going back to that, like, is the V carb going to be a competitive car? I can't believe
Yeah.
we call it that. Um,
What
But
else are we gonna call it?
if that car is competitive, I think that gives Yuki a great opportunity to like once and for all prove him wrong. And,
Yeah,
if right call for him contract wise is to go somewhere else, gives him that opportunity to show what he can do.
100%.
Staying in the V carb family,
Mm.
my prediction is I think Danny Rick to Red Bull on a 1 year contract.
After the season's over?
I think they might announce it during the season, depending on how Checo does.
I would like to see it.
This is another, like, again, no hate to Checo. Want you to win Mexico so
Yeah,
badly.
we want you to win Mexico.
This is a delusional positivity thing. I think the hit for Daniel to finish his career, like that story of like,
Yeah,
leaving Red Bull and, he did well at Renault and then like that horrible struggle at McLaren and then like
yeah,
coming back up to finish his career in a
yeah,
dominant Red Bull.
yeah.
I
No,
mean,
I 100% agree because it when you said it, it is kind of like the thought of, okay, well, he probably isn't in it for that much longer.
yeah,
I mean, I don't know. Look at Fernando Alonso, but like, it would be great to have him end at Red Bull where he is so welcomed and loved there.
right. Yeah. And I do think it would be a 1 year contract. I don't see
Y-
them multi-year signing him. That's not to say he gets to that 1 year contract and performs well and maybe they extend it. But he also talked a little bit about thinking about retiring during the McLaren stuff. And I think that
Yeah,
was also affected by, lots of other things.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't think he's planning on racing for too many more years. So I think we see a Danny Rick in the Red Bull. That's my prediction.
Be pretty sick.
That'd be so cool. So cool. Um, Going sort of similar, but on a different note, a prediction for a 2025 rookie. Who do you think we're gonna get?
I picked Ollie Bierman. Bierman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
he's
think
a
he'll
Haas
go
reserve
Haas?
driver right
Yeah.
now. Um, I think if he has any say in it, I don't think so. um, I don't know. I would like to see him on the grid though.
Mhm. And that does make sense, right? Like K-Mag and Nico both have 1 year contracts.
There's a
And
lot of
new
yeah,
team principal, lots of change happening over there.
yeah. So it would make sense.
Yeah. And
Uh,
Ollie had a pretty solid year in F2 this past year. He's in F2 again this year. So
yeah,
I'd love to see it.
yeah. He won some podiums last year in F2 and did okay. And he went from like P3, F3 to F2 pretty quickly. So
Mhm.
yeah, it is interesting though because we have like the same grid, so there aren't any rookies.
This year,
So it's
yeah.
interesting, yeah.
Yeah, so I am manifesting a rookie class for next year with this question.
Jamie loves a rookie. Who did you pick out of your many beloved
This
rookies?
was this was one of the harder ones for me because how can I pick one? I want all of them. But I went for Liam Lawson.
Oh, dang it. I forgot about
Yeah.
Liam.
Yeah, it's crazy because you don't even honestly
I
like
don't
think
think
of
of him
it like
about him as a
yeah.
rookie.
Um, I think he's more than proven himself
Yeah.
in the few races that he did last year. And I want him to get a seat. And my vision is Danny goes to Red Bull, Liam goes to V Carb. So,
That would be the right choice
right,
in our
right.
opinion.
Walk with me here. Walk with me. I have a plan already. I already have the plan. I
We'll
have not
walk
figured
with
out where
it.
Checo's going yet, but give me a second and I'll figure it out.
We're figuring it out. He's going back to Alpine
Oh God.
with Esteban.
Make Checo and Esteban teammates again? You think Pierre and Esteban had problems?
Oh God.
Oh boy.
Anyway, speaking of crazy, what do you think has potential of being like the craziest race this year?
This was a tough one for me because I was like,
Yeah.
it's also so hard to tell, right? And my initial like knee jerk was Brazil, just because Interlagos is our favorite.
Yeah.
Uh, but Australia was crazy this past
But that
year.
was that was my knee jerk because of who
Yeah,
restarts and the
crazy.
crashes.
Qatar had so much happening, but I
Japan
went
is
for
always crazy.
Japan. I was like, what would I love to see be crazy?
Yeah.
And Monza was not Monzaing for me this past year.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna manifest that Monza, we get a surprise race winner again. We get
Yeah.
some interesting stuff going on. I'm going with
The
Monza.
curse come back.
Yeah.
Just pick up. Um yeah, we need more curses this year.
Yeah.
I did Austin.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Like having a really good American race.
Hmm.
Sounds sick. I'm into
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I
Uh,
think F1 Academy's racing there again this year, so
mhm.
more eyes on Austin. I'm in.
Yeah. I'm in. Love it.
I'm in.
Um, who do you think is going to be in their flop era? I think we might have said the same thing.
Did you pick a team or a person?
I said a team, but I think you
I
could do a
also said
team
a
or a
team.
person.
Should
Do
we
I say it
say
on
it?
three?
You want to say it on 3?
One, two, three. Mercedes.
Mercedes. I did put Haas initially, but they really haven't had any other era.
I don't think like Haas being like, oh, we're gonna be 10th is like that flop era y to me. Obviously, they have had better years.
Yeah.
Um, and Mercedes fans, we are not laughing at you. You gotta smile through the pain. We are with you.
Yeah.
We want you to
No,
do
because we
well.
want you to succeed. We
We want
do.
you to
We want
succeed.
Lewis to have another world championship so he can get his
Yeah.
9th. But
That would
we
be his eighth. Jackie?
no, nope.
Oh, are we getting back into 2021 here?
No, we wouldn't. I was just trying to
Um,
be funny.
we
Yeah,
want
no,
a Lewis
we
race
want
win. We
we
want
do.
that. However,
100%.
I am I think it's gonna be a flop era. I don't like I mean, neither one of us put them in the top three for constructors.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And that kind of is a flop for them, isn't it? Being outside
Yeah.
of the top 3. That just in
Yeah.
general is flop.
So
So there's a range of flop.
we're not
Doesn't
saying he's
have
gonna
to
be a
be.
disaster, but
No. 122 laps. 12th.
ugh, maybe they were testing heavy fuel.
Maybe they were testing out the wets. That's what they were
Yeah,
doing. I have no
they're
idea.
running Jackie's favorite tire
Yeah,
comp, the wet,
my the wets, the
the
full
full.
wets.
Um, who do you think is gonna have the best merch drop?
Ooh, Alex Albon.
I was thinking about Alex Albon in his merch earlier today because I remember when he dropped the website, I signed up for like email notifications and I did he just release the shoes and hasn't
I
released
think
anything
he
else?
has just released the shoes,
I
but
would
there are
love
so many
some
people
Alex
who have
Albon
their
merch.
own merch that I hope in this break he and Danny Rick have talked and
Yeah.
to like chat about their merch lines because I
Yes.
think Alex Albon does have really good taste.
And he just released that new logo for this year.
Yeah. So I have maybe that's where my delusional positivity is going towards Alex Albon's merch line drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um
What did you say?
so I actually have two
Okay.
because one of them is qualified. My first prediction is Lando if he wins a race. I have a
Mm,
feeling, I mean, it's been such a long time coming. I have a feeling he has
they have to
designs
have
ready.
that. Yeah, it's got to be in the back pocket that they're just
Yeah.
like, and it launched.
And that would be my vision is that like it's just like everyone's so excited and then like
Yeah.
his like merch is like, by the way, here's a link to my race win
Yeah.
merch.
Yeah, it'd be
Um,
sick.
if not, I think Danny Rick for Austin.
Yeah.
The Rick 3 Rodeo collection, which was like 2 years ago, I was in love with. I still regret
Yeah.
not buying it.
I
This
regret there was a
Yeah,
sweater that I really wanted from there.
yeah. This past collection was, like, more like a record, like, he was, like, in the recording studio,
Yeah.
and loved it, but didn't love it as much,
I
and I feel
wanted
like
cowboy.
right, and I feel like maybe I'm hoping that maybe he heard us and our thoughts there, and we're gonna
Yeah.
get something more cowboy this year, hopefully.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Hopefully Lewis also does stuff with his merch because
Yeah, because he has a really cool merch line. I haven't bought anything from it yet, but I need to.
it is really, really cool.
He has really cool
He
stuff.
it's just done very sparingly, isn't it?
Right, and yeah, and
Yeah.
smaller collections, but the prices aren't insane from what I remember.
No. He
Um,
did, like, a nostalgia one, which was sick. It was all his
yeah,
old, like,
old
photos
pictures.
of him, and it was so
Yeah,
cool.
so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
What is next? Okay, who is your first DNF?
so I went for and I just feel this, and I'm sorry, I went for a Haas, and if I have to pick one specifically, I went for K-Mag just because he has worse luck than Nico. And I'm not wishing this for you. I don't know why. I just feel that this is something that, based on the way that the season has been talked about by your new team principal, I just see this. I see it.
Yeah. Yeah. You see it. I, um, I said Logan.
Oh, I hope not.
I hope not too, but I don't know. He did well during tests, and he got
Yeah,
11th, was
yeah.
higher than Alex Albon. I don't know. I want him to succeed. I know that
I want
doesn't
him so badly to succeed.
I want him to. I want him to win at Silverstone.
USA.
How funny would that be, though? Oh my god.
I honestly,
Um,
I feel like it would be kind of like better for him to win at Silverstone than it would be to win in the US.
yeah,
It'd just be
no
so
one
much more memeable.
yeah, be so
So good.
funny. Yeah, so that's what I said.
Oh, I hope we're both wrong. I hope no one DNFs. I hope we never have a DNF the whole season.
That's a crazy take. I also was kinda debating Charles Leclerc because he just has really bad luck,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
didn't say that because I know that people think I'm a Charles Leclerc hater. I'm not.
She's just critical, you know? I mean, she's
I
just
just know his potential. I know his potential.
yeah. She's not mad, she's just disappointed.
I am just disappointed. I am disappointed. Fred, call me up. I'm ready. Like, I will talk to him.
Just give him a pep talk.
Yeah, he needs
Hey,
one.
it could work. You never know.
They obviously haven't done it yet, you know? Like, it definitely is not gonna work.
It can't hurt.
It wouldn't hurt, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You know, I support it, you know? Um, all right. Speaking of first DNF, first race of the season, et cetera, who your P1 through P5 for Bahrain?
Okay, I did it in order too.
Me too.
Max, Lando, Charles, Carlos. Wait, no, that's wrong.
How did you get there? You just so confidently went, and I did it in order too.
I did do it in order, but I deleted Checo on accident. It
Oh.
was supposed to be Max, Lando, Charles, Checo, Carlos.
You wanna know the craziest thing ever?
What? Did you have the
I
exact
the
same thing?
exact same in order top
Do you really?
Max, Lando, Charles, Checo, Carlos. Yes.
We have the same brain.
It's almost like we're related. Yeah, I think that Max will win. I think that's almost a given, unless like the carts
Yeah.
like DNFs and engine turns off or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I think both of us are in the same wavelength of McLaren was so strong at the end of the season.
Yeah.
From what we've seen so far, just testing, but from what we've seen so far, they look very strong again. So I think that McLaren will be up in the fight, and I just think Lando's going to be really strong. Um, and then Ferrari has looked somewhat promising, and
Yeah.
they seem happier than they were last year. Um,
They have a new head strategist.
right. So I think that we'll have both Ferraris up at the front. I think it could go back and forth between who will be up higher, but I feel like past trends, I feel like Charles tends to be higher at the beginning.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
could be just making that up though. I don't know. Um, and then Checo, I think will be towards the front. It's going to
Yeah.
be in a rocket. Uh, but I really honestly put Checo fourth just because like I love the idea of having three teams on the podium
Yeah.
for the first race. So I think very realistically it could be a two Red Bull podium, but delusional positivity.
Delusional positivity. Yeah. That's so funny that we had the
Yeah,
exact
that's crazy.
same.
That's crazy when you were like, no, that's wrong. Like when you were listing it before you stopped yourself, I was like, oh, that's crazy. Like so close.
So close, crazy close. No. No,
uh,
I somehow deleted Checo on accident.
sorry, Checo.
Sorry, Checo. We love you.
We
We
love you.
do. Who do you think's gonna have the best socials this year?
So I just went for a team, but I do have a
I did
driver
too.
answer as well. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I just said team.
Um, I went for Alpine. They are sneaky, so funny on Twitter.
Oh, are they? I don't have
Yeah.
Twitter. I'm just not over that they on social pushed a pink camo livery
Yeah.
and then had no color.
The
One of
I
the
will
ugliest liveries of the year,
yeah, worst livery by far. I think we
honestly.
can say that now. But I will they got me back, the social team, not
Okay.
I'm still annoyed with Alpine for that
Mhm.
livery, but the social team with the replies to the tweets. So people were tweeting back like, "What the heck is this?" And they would just tweet back to them and be like, "The car." They'd be like, "Where's the camo?" And they'd be like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
It's there, it's just invisible. That's so funny. I love it when brands and stuff do that, like the Duolingo
Yeah,
bird.
yeah. So they won me back. The
Yeah, I need to get Twitter.
Alpine admin, if you are listening,
We love you.
mwah,
You're doing amazing.
you're doing amazing, sweetie. Smooches from us.
They also have great like, if you think about it, they have Ryan Reynolds,
Mhm.
Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, and then they have somebody else, I think, like a famous soccer player, right?
Yeah,
Or no, or is it a golfer?
someone from a sport that we don't follow, but love and respect you, and hope wish you
Love
all
and
the
respect all the
success.
work that you put in to be a professional.
Yes.
Amazing job. Thank you for your service. They have so many opportunities there, so I would like to see what they do with it.
Yeah. Like, I hope they lean into that a little bit more. I
Yeah.
know Ryan Reynolds was at a race. I mean, obviously that was on Drive to Survive, but yeah, I hope like we get more of that. And also
Yeah.
just like you have access to these like very media savvy people.
Mhm.
So I feel like they'll get some really good content going.
100%.
Um, and then rounding it out for our predictions for the 2024 season, who do you think will be the driver with the most memes made about them?
We have to have the same answer. Or did you go for some like an underdog?
Oh no, I went for a mainstream.
Okay, do you wanna do it at the same time?
Yeah. One, two, three. Fernando.
George Russell.
Oh. See, those could be both. You
George
don't think
Russell had way
Fernando?
more memes than Fernando.
I feel
Fernando
Fernando was
was on
dating Taylor
socials.
Swift.
That's not a meme.
It was a joke.
Meme joke.
Same thing. Also, like,
Are
did you see
same.
that whole, like, Fernando, like, that Kevin James meme of, like, Kevin James, like, shrugging his
Oh yeah,
shoulders?
it doesn't.
And, like, Fernando made his own version of that.
Yeah. No, George Russell.
Yeah,
Do you know
George,
for him turning around in that car?
yeah.
Was it in Austin?
Yeah.
Or was Austin the one where it's focusing on Charles
No,
Leclerc and then
that
it's just
was
George?
that was a later race after
That was a
Austin,
later race?
because
Oh
I
my
think
god.
turning around went viral first, and then the driving by happened, and that was when everyone was like, "Okay, are the cameramen trying to, like, get the funniest clip of George?"
And then George stood out in the rain, remember?
Yes, and then tried to have his, like, step up to the streets moment.
Step Up to the Streets. Everyone
Yeah.
said it was rom-com. It wasn't. It was Step Up to the Streets.
He is a very just memeable guy. And you know what? I have to, as he while he is still and forever will be my sworn enemy because of turn 1 at Austin in 2022, you gotta respect the memeability and the fact that they make him react to these. And
They do.
he always handles it pretty well.
Yeah, well, and then, one I saw recently that he reacted to was the somebody was suggesting poses for this upcoming year.
Yes. Oh, I
Also
hope he really leans
excellent
in.
excellent suggestions by
Yeah.
this woman. Amazing job. And he was into it. He's
He
like,
has
"Yeah,
to bring it.
I'll do this." He has to. It has to be
I
something really weird and outlandish.
I will be so angry.
If he
You
has a normal one,
If he does a normal one,
what's the
how dare
point
you?
then?
What's the point
What
of watching F1 at all?
why are we doing any of this?
Yeah, like, this is pointless. We should all just everyone turn off your TVs. I'll be
There
turning
was
off my
one that
TV.
the woman suggested, it was, like, him, like, arching his back, like, leaning
Yeah.
back against the wall, and I can't get that out of my head because I think he would do it.
Or I like the one I don't know which actor this is, but there's that picture of that one actor, he's, like, basically doing a split, and then he's, like, looking up at the camera. Like,
I
he's
don't know
like,
what you're talking about.
I'll have to show you. It was
Yeah,
in
you'll have
like,
to show it to me.
yeah. It was like everyone found that picture and was like, "This should be George Russell's intro pose." So,
No, the intro poses all have to be outlandish, but I know that there are certain people who wouldn't do it. But I think George would because he laughs at himself.
yeah, I mean, there are certain ones that I think you can get a pass because, like, I think you'd rather like I think Max would rather die than do, like, a fun intro
Max
pose.
would rather die than do any of the media stuff.
Right. So, like, Max, I think what he does typically in the intros where he just sort of smiles at the camera, I think that, you know what?
Just like this.
Challenge by choice. Challenge by choice. You can do
Everyone
what you're
has
comfortable
different
with.
levels of comfortability. We have our introverted friends on the grid. We're
Exactly.
willing to work with you on it
Precisely.
within
You
your
know,
boundaries. Like
you
Lewis, I don't think Lewis would ever do that.
know. In a
It
different way
would
from Max not wanting to do it.
in like the aesthetic
Yeah,
kind of
right,
way. He would never touch that.
right. And so I think this is like a bring it in your comfort level. Bring it to your comfort level.
Make it work.
Make it work. America's
I'm
Next Top
done.
Model. Oh,
No.
that was Project Runway. That was Project Runway. I'm so sorry.
What did they say?
On America's Next Top Model?
Yeah. They say you've been cut? What do they say when they're
No, I just remember it was like I have two models stand before me, but only one picture in my hands.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
it would cut to the picture of all of them, and it would have that noise, and then one of them would fade away. The one that got discontinued,
They
got discontinued,
discontinued.
eliminated.
Yeah, discontinued. Anyway, we could talk about this a lot.
We could go on and on, but it has been 55 minutes, so we'll let you go.
We'll stop.
We'll have much more information to share with you next time we talk to you because we'll have 2 more full days of testing and a whole season of Drive to Survive.
No,
So
we have to watch a whole season of Drive to Survive.
yeah.
It is
I
our
also
cross
still
to
have to
bear.
finish the NASCAR one. I have not finished the NASCAR version of Drive to Survive yet, so I'll share that with all of you when I'm done with that as well. But love you so much. Have a fabulous, fabulous week. Enjoy watching testing. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye, everybody.